Hello there. Good morning or nearly afternoon for those of you joining right now. And especially if you're joining from Canada, then it's getting pretty late over there. But welcome to the Study in Canada virtual fair. I hope everyone is doing well and everyone is healthy and continue to observe the health protocols wherever you are joining from. My name is Welly Kustono. I'm the Director of Canadian Education International Indonesia. We are a not for profit foundation with the mandate to promote Canadian education in Indonesia. And we are pleased to welcome you, all of you again, to participate in the Study in Canada virtual fair. Right now is still the first part of the fair, which is the presentation. Now, I would like to remind everyone that the fair will only be open at 1 p.m. Jakarta time. So right now, we will begin with an overview presentation about education in Canada delivered by me, and you are welcome to listen to this presentation. Hopefully, you will learn some important information that will be useful for you as you are going to meet the Canadian institutions later on at the fair. So once again, I would like to remind everyone that the Study in Canada virtual fair will begin at 1 p.m. So make sure you have the login information so that you can log into the platform. If you have not registered for the fair, you still can register now so that you can join us later on. Let me begin with my presentation today. And I would like to begin by giving an update about the condition or the situation of the international student recruitment happening in Canada right now. As for the end of year 2020, there are more than 530,000 international students studying in Canada at all levels of education. Now, if you are looking at the past decade, the increase has been phenomenal at 135%. And I personally also view the number of Indonesian students studying in Canada has continued to grow at a very promising rate. It's been always steady positive growth for the past 10 years. So it's really exciting to see that Canada is really becoming more and more popular as an overseas study destination among international students, including among Indonesian students. So if we are going to specifically look at 2014 to 2018, then the number is even more phenomenal because the growth of international student recruitment in Canada at those years was actually the highest in the world at 73%. And that only happened quite recently. And if we compare that with the other countries on the screen, which are also very popular among international students, you can see that the number is really great, and it reflects the popularity of Canada as an overseas study destination. So it's no surprise that Canada holds among the top 5 overseas study destination for post-secondary international students worldwide. So for those of them that have completed high school and now looking for the next level of education. But what's unique and really made Canada stood out among the other countries is the fact that 75% of all international students in Canada are post-secondary students. Now, Canada is still popular among students looking for graduate study. However, it's very interesting that a lot of younger students are also interested in studying in Canada despite the distance. Now, if you are not familiar with the many provinces there are in Canada, these are some of the provinces that are also popular among international students. Almost 50% of the international students are currently studying in Ontario. And if you know a little bit about Canada, then you know, for example, the city of Toronto, which is the largest city in Canada, is in Ontario. Nearly 25% are in British Columbia. So again, if you know a little bit about Canada, then you probably have heard about Vancouver in British Columbia. And Vancouver is the third largest city in Canada. So about 25% of international students are currently studying in BC. Now, I have to say, though, that these are the percentages representing the international student population. With Indonesian students, I would say that the numbers between Ontario province and British Columbia province are actually quite similar. But let's not forget the other provinces that also offer good quality education and also gaining popularity among international students, including Indonesian. So like the provinces of Quebec, Alberta, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and the Maritimes as well. So make sure that you take a look at all those provinces because they might really offer good quality of education at affordable flat value and price as well. Now, the top field of study that are popular among international students are not surprising: engineering, business, natural and social sciences. But these are still quite broad. So I will be taking a little bit of time later on to highlight some of the highly sought degrees in Canada. So stay tuned, don't go anywhere. Let me get started with an introduction about the theme of my presentation today. Because a lot of people often come to me and ask, like, why should I choose Canada, or why should I send my children to Canada? Like, there are so many other countries that are popular, and there are many Indonesian alumni from those countries already. Why should we choose Canada? Obviously, there are many answers to that. But if I may highlight some of the main themes that are really become major consideration for students and parents when choosing Canada, is about, first, the quality of life, and second, the quality of education, and third, work opportunity. Let's start with the quality of life. There are many aspects that we can talk about quality of life, but I would like to highlight some of the aspects that are really important and really relevant to parents and students listening to this presentation right now. The first one that I want to highlight is the diversity and yet inclusivity that's offered in Canada. Canada was the first country in the world to adopt multiculturalism as an official policy. And that's not only on paper, but it's really reflected in the day-to-day basis. Canadian population is very diverse, not only in the major cities, but particularly in major cities. And we can see that in terms of the statistics, where about 20 to 25% of Canadian citizens, they're actually not born in Canada, so they used to be immigrants. We can see the diversity in terms of nationality, race, language, religion, and so many others. But all of these diversity doesn't actually separate people, but actually get them to be united and inclusive within the population, which is why Canada is one of the most welcoming countries in the world, including towards international students as well. Another aspect of the quality of life that I would like to talk about is entrepreneurship. And this might catch you a little bit off guard. What does entrepreneurship has anything to do with quality of life? Well, often, particularly I observe in Canada, that entrepreneurship and innovation work hand in hand. And a lot of the innovation that's happening is driven by the private sector working together with the academics. So you know where I'm getting at. With all those innovation startups happening, being driven by this entrepreneurship spirit, the result oftentimes leads to the improvement of the quality of life. But there is also another aspect that's quite unique that I want to highlight, is the fact that a lot of the entrepreneurial activities that's happening in Canada are the startups that's happening in many cities in Canada. And they have become very robust ecosystems in cities like Ottawa, Toronto, Waterloo, Vancouver, Montreal, Edmonton, and Quebec City. Now, the field of studies that we see here, like big data analytics, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, fintech, robotics, clean tech, gaming, and so on, are not only offered in classroom settings, But these are really playbox for students where they can gain professional experience as part of the learning experience. That's why we call it the work integrated learning, where students can be able to learn from the education sector as well as in the private sector. How can students benefit from there? There are programs that they can explore, the so-called work integrated learning programs. So we will talk about that again later on in my presentation. So these fields are really popular among millennial students. I encourage students listening to this, and later on when you log into the platform of the fair, that you will keep about these fields in mind as you consult about your study plan with the Canadian institution representatives. Finally, I like to move on up with the next theme, which is the quality of education. Now, with quality of education, of course, we can always talk about ranking of the institutions. And I'm really proud to say that the Canadian universities are also part of the global top 200 institutions in the world. But another fundamental factor that I want to focus on in this presentation is the fact that the Canadian institutions, both colleges and universities, are involved actively in the research and development in Canada. The percentage is very high and more than any other OECD countries, which is at an estimated 40%. So on the screen there, you can see the comparison of the percent of nations research performed by colleges and universities at those countries. And you can see that Canadian institutions in particular, are doing really well and very active in their contribution to the national research. It is no wonder then that Canada, even though only represent on 0.5% of the world population, and yet the Canadian researchers are able to publish nearly 3% of the world's scientific papers. But Canada is not only popular or well known because of the quality of education at the post-secondary level or even at the graduate level. In fact, it is also well known even starting at the secondary level. I know quite a few of the students, especially the younger ones, you might be exploring, and parents as well listening to this are exploring for the opportunities or the possibility of studying in Canada at a younger age, maybe at secondary level. So it's very good to know that Canada also ranked very high in their PISA results. This is the latest results that I can obtain, which is from PISA 2018. And this has been consistent throughout many years, where Canada is one of the English-speaking countries that ranks very high, especially from the Western hemisphere, that ranks very high for their reading, mathematics, and sciences. And as we all know, that PISA is oftentimes used as the benchmark to evaluate the quality of the secondary schools and their students at the respective countries. Now, what else about quality of education from Canada that's quite unique? Another factor that's also, I think, is very important to highlight is the fact that Canada is one of the top spender country on public post-secondary education per capita. So it's very interesting that at 36 million people in Canada, that's the size of the population, the Canadian government has been committed in upgrading or in investing in the education of their people. And that's why Canada is one of the country, in fact, it's in the top 3 of one of the most educated country in the world. Now, this is not just a ranking that I made it up. In fact, you can Google this yourself if you try to find the most educated country ranking, and you'll see that Canada is in the top ranked. And the reason being that Canada has a proportion of adult population with a post-secondary education or even higher at the graduate education level even, and they possess a high proportion of such adult population compared to the other countries in the world. So it's really exciting that you will be considering Canada as one of your destination country. And it's good to know that this country offers such great commitment and investment in education that you will enjoy as you make your final decision in your overseas study destination. So let's talk a little bit now, since we are talking about quality of education, and later on you will log into the platform, you'll see quite a number of institutions in the platform. Now, majority of the institutions are divided into three pavilions, and I encourage you when you log into the platform not to be, not to be lost. You are able to look at the pavilions which are categorized by the level of education. So there is one pavilion for primary and secondary schools if you are looking to study high schools in Canada. The second pavilion is the largest one, which offers the post-secondary education. And post-secondary education consists of certificate, diploma, advanced diploma, associate degree, all the way to bachelor degree. So this pavilion is probably the largest one, and you're welcome to have a look at that if you are graduating from high school in the near future and you are looking for the next level of education. The final pavilion is for the postgraduate and graduate level. So for those of you that are already at university or at college, or you are looking to upgrade your education for master degree, postgraduate certificate, postgraduate diploma, you are welcome to visit this pavilion. So the type of the institutions that are available today, apart from the primary and the secondary schools, for the post-secondary and for the graduate study, you are faced with two main options. The first one are the universities, and the second one are the polytechnics and the colleges. What are the differences between the two? University is often known as a higher learning institution, much like what we are accustomed to in Indonesia. So university often offers programs like bachelor degree, master, and PhD. Bachelor degree is usually about 4 years to complete in Canada. Master is usually about 1 to 2 years, and PhD can be between 3 to 5 years of study. What about the colleges? The colleges is an institution that focus on applied hands-on practical learning. And that's why the programs that they offer are usually shorter in duration, like 1 year certificate, 2 year diploma, 2 year associate degree, 3 year advanced diploma, and some may also offer 4 year bachelor degree. So for those of you looking for S1 or bachelor degrees, good for you. You are faced with two options. You can choose to learn and earn your bachelor degree at a college, but you can also do the same at a university. However, do understand that the environment and the way of learning are slightly different. Universities are usually large institutions with large student bodies, with many faculties and facilities of research, and that's why it's a huge institution. College and polytechnics, although they can be quite large, usually their class sizes are smaller. There are certainly huge interaction or greater interaction between students and the professors or the teachers in a college setting rather than at the university. Although universities still offer many other opportunities for students to engage with the professors through office hours, through tutorial with the professor assistants, and so on. Second, in terms of the tuition fee, the university and the college tuition fees are also quite different. I have a separate slide on that, so we'll touch on that a bit later. But what I want to focus more to compare and contrast between university and college is particularly in the approach of learning. University oftentimes start with something more general in the first year or even in the first 2 years, and it will become a more focused because you need to declare your major or your concentration as you progress through your years. So I often explain that by giving you an imaginary triangle. You start broad at the bottom, and as you progress through the years, you are sharpened or you are more focused towards your concentration. That's the university approach of learning. For the college learning, I like to paint you an image of an inverted triangle. So you start with something more focused towards what you want to study, and then you progress through the years and add more layers, add more courses to broaden your knowledge. So it's very interesting that these two types of learning work depending on your need and your approach to learning and the type of program you are looking for. So be mindful of these things as you interact with the Canadian institutions during the virtual fair today. Now, as I mentioned in my introduction, I like to highlight about the highly sought degrees in Canada. Now, business or commerce, believe it or not, is still one of the most popular program of study among international students, not only in Canada, but also worldwide. But business and commerce, they have so many concentrations that you can choose for. There is accounting, finance, actuarial science, management science, human resource, and so on, marketing, and so on. What about engineering? Chemical, civil, electrical, industrial, manufacturing, mechanical, software, petroleum, and so on. These are the types of engineering that are also popular in Canada. And I also need to highlight, particularly with regards to ICT, information communication technology, where it is really quite big, as you can see in the startup list that I showed you earlier in my presentation. Energy is also big in Canada, but we are not just talking about the non-renewable energy like oil and gas, mining, and so on, but also the renewable energy. The ones like green energy is also one of the way of the future. So it is also very popular among international students in Canada. Now, because Canada is also the second largest country in the world in terms of landmass, that's why earth science is also quite popular in Canada. Fields like geoscience, geoinformatics, and I mentioned earlier, renewable energy are also popular in Canada. Biological, biomedical science, fields like biochem, biotech, bioinformatics, pharmacology, nursing are attracting a great number of international students as well. And finally, this list is not an exhaustive list. There are also many other degrees that are also popular among international students, including things like digital interactive media, hospitality, and so on. Now, I'd like to move on to the final theme that I want to present today. And it is on work opportunities in Canada. What's really made Canada quite unique and popular among international students is the availability of work opportunities for international students during study and after they graduate. I think it's important to learn all the differences so you are accustomed or you are well aware of what are the programs that will be available and you should take advantage of as you become international students in Canada. There are many work integrated learning programs, school programs that are available for you. But before we do that, I do want to highlight as well that as international students in Canada, you are um, you are allowed or you are eligible to work part-time 20 hours a week during school semester, and you can even work full-time during breaks, school holidays or school breaks. And you can also work on campus and off campus. No further permit required. You can do that the moment you have your study permit. Of course, you need to begin your study, and your study should be your top priority. But these type of part-time experience, even though they are great, oftentimes they are not related to your study. Wouldn't it be better for you to be exposed in the kind of work opportunities available, but it's part of your learning? Because you will be getting work opportunities that's related to your field of study. And what are the type of programs out there? There is the research projects, the practicums, the field placements, and the internships available for you. But one of the unique program that's really popular and really unique for Canada compared to the other countries is the co-op program. In fact, it's probably need to, it should be noted that Canada is a country with the largest co-op network in the whole world. But what is co-op exactly? Co-op is a school program that allows you as international students to work full-time in a company, in a real company, in Canada or even overseas, uh, in a field that's related to your study. So that seems like quite a mouthful, but there are multiple layer benefits there. So first, it's a school program, so you will be graded on it. You will be evaluated by your supervisor at the workplace, and you may actually pass or fail the program. So first, you will be graded, or you get grades on that. Second, it's related to your study. So whatever you learn in class up to that moment is an opportunity for you to actually apply that at a place where you work. But more importantly, whatever it is that you learn by doing on field, you will be able to carry that as your experience, as part of your learning, something that you will be able to share and contribute back in the class when you are back to school. So this is really a full cycle feedback learning that's really beneficial for students. And the third layer of the benefits of this program is because you're working at a real company, you will also be paid with real salary, which is quite competitive in the job market as well. So wouldn't that be great? Not only you will be completing your school requirement or your graduation requirement by doing co-op. Second, you will be able to experience the full feedback cycle of learning by applying what you learn in class in the workplace, and at the same time applying what you learn in the workplace back in class. And on top of that, you will be paid salary that will help to ease your financial burden. So this is definitely exciting. But exactly how does the co-op system work? So for a student, you need to understand that the semester in Canada is 4 months long. So we operate on a trimester academic year. One semester is 4 months long. It starts in September to December. We often call that the fall semester, which is the largest intake for many international students. In fact, most of the Indonesian students probably will begin their study in Canada in fall or in September. The second semester is from January to April, and we call that the spring or the winter semester. The last semester is the summer, which begins in May to August. Now, assuming that students are taking full advantage of the full scope of the academic year, the 3 semesters, then students are able to study at certain semester and take at least one co-op semester every year starting the second year. By the time you graduate and earn your bachelor degree, it is likely that you will be earning at least 1 year of professional experience from the co-op semester alone. So it is actually possible for fresh graduates to graduate from university or from college with professional work experience already available under your belt, and you can highlight in your CV. And obviously, that's going to make you more competitive in the job market because you are not merely a well graduate or well fresh graduate, but you will be a graduate with good academic standing with plenty of professional experience to highlight. So once again, which is why co-op is really popular among international students when studying in Canada, and which is why Canada is also very popular for students looking for work integrated learning model. Finally, I want to highlight about the work opportunity available to international students after you have completed your study or after you graduate. In Canada, we offers PGWP, which stands for Post-Graduation Work Permit Program. It's essentially a permit that you need to apply for, but it will allow you to stay and work in Canada for up to 3 years after you have completed your study. Now, this is very important because a lot of times students don't have many work experience. Like even with the co-op, you can get maximum maybe 1 year or maybe a bit more by the time you graduate. But this post-graduation work permit will allow you to really have full professional experience for up to 3 years. The current rule states that if your academic program is 1 year long, then you can get a 1 year post-graduation work permit. If your program of study is 2 years or longer, so that range from diploma, associate degree, and bachelor degree, then you can earn up to 3 year post-graduation work permit. And this is really exciting if you can see the full picture. Imagine a student that has already had experience in co-op. They are doing well in co-op. They got good reviews from their supervisors. So by the time the student graduate, this PGWP will be an open door for them to be able to apply to those previous employers or even to apply for new workplaces. So you probably notice it by now that the permit doesn't allow you to get a sponsor or somebody willing to hire you. You actually can apply for this post-graduation work permit even though you don't have a job offer yet. And that's the beauty of it, because the PGWP, the post-graduation work permit, will put you in the same level playing field as the rest of the job applicants out there in Canada, because you have fulfilled all the paperwork and all you need now is to compete based on your skills, based on your qualifications to be able to attain the job or the dream job you're looking for. So this post-graduation work permit is definitely a great way to conclude your learning experience in Canada. Now, there are other countries offering similar programs, I must say, but often it comes with many terms and conditions. Some countries may offer you this program, but it only offers you such program if you completed your program of study at certain fields like science, technology, engineering, math. In Canada, it's applicable to all fields of study. Some other countries might actually offer the same permit, but you must pursue a higher learning degree, like a master or a PhD. In Canada, it offers at all education levels, starting with post-secondary like diploma, certificate diploma, advanced diploma, associate degree, and even bachelor degree as well. So as you can see, that Canada really offers flexible and yet rewarding work opportunities to international students during their study. So let's move on to the final segment of my presentation as we are approaching the opening time of the fair. Once again, for those of you that have just joined my presentation right now, I'd like to remind you that you are now in the first part of the Study in Canada virtual fair session. The fair itself will open at 1 p.m. Jakarta time, so make sure you have your login information ready in the next few minutes. When we have completed this presentation, you will be able to join the fair soon. Now let's move on with this, with the content, with the next content of my presentation. First, I also encourage you that even after this fair is over, that you will continue to actively search for information about Canadian education, and you are welcome to do that by visiting educanada.ca to get a comprehensive information about education in Canada. Now, I like to provide with some numbers because these are definitely important information so that you can plan in terms of your financial budgeting and so on. You are probably wondering now, how much is it really cost for me to study in Canada? I've already explained in the beginning the differences about the universities and the colleges, the differences between the post-secondary education and the graduate or the postgraduate education. So naturally, the tuition fees of those differences also reflect the differences of the fees as well. So for an international student studying at a university, the tuition fee for 1 year is usually around 30,000 Canadian dollars. In case you are wondering how much is 1 Canadian dollar, it's around 11,000 rupees. Now, if you are learning an undergraduate program at a college, then the tuition fee is usually lower, around 20,000 Canadian dollars. So first, there is a difference of approximately 10 grand between studying undergraduate at a college compared at a university. Now, what about students learning graduate programs? So like graduate certificate, graduate diploma, master at college or at university. The tuition fee is actually quite similar with the exception of the MBA program. The tuition fee is usually around 20,000 Canadian dollars per year. So now you just need to times it to how many years you're gonna need to complete the study. Now, what about the living expense? The living expense in Canada is about 10 to 15,000 Canadian dollars, and that obviously depends on where you live and the type of life you are living. But I need to emphasize this, and this is based on the latest Mercer study on cost of living rankings comparing top cities around the world. Now, first I need to explain so you can see properly the information on the screen right now. The number associated with the cities reflect the rank of the cost of living. So the smaller the number, the higher the rank, the more expensive it is. So you probably noticed by now that actually the cities in Asia Pacific are really quite high in the ranking, meaning like they are quite expensive for people to live in, as opposed to in Canada. In fact, if we are going to compare the major cities in Canada, reflected in red, and we compare it with other major cities in US, Europe, and Asia Pacific, you can see that the Canadian cities are really quite affordable. Even if we are going to compare Vancouver and Toronto, which are probably the most expensive Canadian cities, they are still quite affordable compared to these other major cities, including Jakarta. It is also very, it's a fun to note that between Jakarta and Ottawa as both capital cities, the cost of a living in Ottawa is actually significantly cheaper compared to Jakarta. But something that's cheap or something that's affordable doesn't have to compromise quality. As I've mentioned many times, Canada as a country ranks consistently high in terms of quality of life. And this is just another example. It's based on the Economist Intelligence Unit 2019 livability ranking. It's also the latest ranking that I could find. And basically, this study focus on the top 10 most livable cities, or I would say the top 10 best cities in the world. And you can see here in the table that Canada is one of the countries that's doing really well. In fact, if you notice, pay attention closely, there are 3 cities out of those 10 originate in Canada. Calgary, ranked number 5, Vancouver, ranked number 6, and Toronto, ranked number 7. So all these 3 cities, they also rank perfect score for healthcare and also perfect score for education, which are all very important and relevant to international students. So what about scholarships now? You're probably wondering now, does Canada offer scholarship? First, I recommend you to have a look at the website, which is highlighted there on the screen, or you can also type it in your browser, scholarships with an S at the end, .gc.ca. And you can actually find the list of scholarships available to international students, and you can actually select for Indonesians, and it will show you the list of scholarships available to Indonesians. However, I need to give you a note that majority of the scholarships offered by the government generally focus on research or professional development, so rarely offered at the post-secondary level. But don't be discouraged, because for post-secondary education scholarships, you can actually try to find the information from the respective institutions. What's interesting about the scholarship is that usually they are divided into 2 categories. The first one is the entrance scholarship, and the second one is the continuing scholarship. Majority of the scholarships available to international students are usually the entrance scholarship, because you will be automatically assessed without having to submit a separate application. When you submit your application for admission to the university or to the college, you will be submitting your academic transcript as well. And you will be automatically assessed and be notified if you are eligible for certain scholarships. Now, this is the general information. Of course, there will be other types of scholarships where you have to apply separately, including this next one, which is the continuing scholarships, which can be renewed from year to year. Generally, the amount will be larger, but that's why the scholarships are also very highly competitive and require additional considerations. In addition to the academic merit, also extracurricular involvement, financial situation, and so on. So usually this type of scholarship will require you to apply earlier, separate application with additional references, documents that you need to submit together with your application. So I encourage you to ask the institutions about the scholarships. It is very rare, I have to say, to be able to obtain full scholarships. It is available, but it's only very limited for students that fit all the requirements. But I need to highlight once more that there are other external sources of funding that we've been, that I've been presenting in my presentation. The on-campus work opportunity, the off-campus work opportunity, the cooperative placement, as well as the post-graduation work opportunity, which are all available for you when you study or once you have completed your study in Canada. So I believe that is all that we'll be sharing as an opening session for this Study in Canada virtual fair. These are my email addresses with my team that you can send emails if you want to discuss personally about your study plan. Now, before you go, we still have about 10 minutes before we begin the Study in Canada virtual fair at 1 p.m. I would like to remind everyone once again, make sure that you already have your login information right now. You will be logging to the platform. This is not via Zoom. This is not via Google Meet. This is via an online platform made exclusively available for you today to attend the Study in Canada virtual fair. The portal is studyincanada.world, which you are viewing the video, where you are viewing the video right now. So shortly, you will be given the option to log in into the fair. If you don't have your login information yet, or you're still wondering about your login information, please go to your email address that you use for your registration and try to search for an email from the student world. As I repeat, the sender details is the student world. And the subject email should be, "You are confirmed to attend the Study in Canada virtual fair." I repeat, the email subject should say, "You are confirmed to attend the Study in Canada virtual fair." If you can manage to find that email, then you'll be able to see your login information right there. If for some reason you couldn't find that email and you have completely forgotten about your password, don't be alarmed, don't be panicked. All you need to do, just click "Forgot my password," and you will be prompted to submit your email address that you used to register. And then you will be sent an email with instructions on how to reset your old password so that the system can give you a new password. And keep in mind, if you cannot find it, maybe you need to check in your spam or junk just in case. Final announcement. Apart from the presentation that I've just delivered to you today, there will be another presentation which I suspect a lot of people will be interested in to listen, which is the presentation by the visa section from the Embassy of Canada to explain to you about the details on visa and study permit application and the latest immigration updates. If you want to attend that session, you need to be in the platform. You need to log in into the platform before 5 p.m. Jakarta time. Because once you are in the platform, you will be able to access this presentation. So make sure, even if you log in now and you like to leave the platform because you're done interacting with all the Canadian institutions, but you are still interested to join in this presentation by visa section, then don't forget, set your alarm and you make sure that you join the platform again before 5 p.m. Okay? Also, just need to remind you, if you have any questions about how to navigate the platform, you are not sure how to find certain institutions, you can always go to the help desk and the FPP Edu team will be more than happy to assist with your questions. But once again, you can search the institutions yourself by name, by pavilion, as I explained earlier, by program. So you can actually type in what type of program you are interested to study, and also by location, certain cities in Canada. You will be able to do all that very easily in the platform. Last but not least, the Embassy of Canada also has its own virtual booth at the fair, as well as my team from Canadian Education International Indonesia. So you are also welcome to visit our booth if you have specific questions. But I strongly encourage you, use the time wisely. You will have the time up to 5 p.m. To interact with all these institutions. So use as much time to interact and engage these institutions joining live from Canada, waiting to interact with you. Last but not least, once you are in the platform, and the platform will be closed at 5 p.m. If you are already inside the platform, you still have time to complete your consultation with the Canadian institutions up to 6 p.m. But if you are outside the platform and you are not back yet by 5 p.m., the virtual fair will be closed. So once again, if you are leaving the platform at any given time between 1 to 5 and you want to be back again, either to talk to the Canadian institutions or you want to attend the embassy presentation on study permit and visa application, then make sure you join back the platform before 5 p.m. Thank you very much for listening to this presentation. We still have a few more minutes before the virtual fair will open. I encourage you to take the time now to have your login details ready, and I wish you have going to have a fruitful time with the Canadian institutions at the Study in Canada virtual fair. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining, and have a nice day. Goodbye.